Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very excited, ready to eat their own words episode of Let's Talk About the League, the number one podcast for the number one amateur league in all of North America, nay, the world. It is I, your belligerent host, Sigtal Lord, Justin Smith. As usual, I am being bound in time with Jeff. Jeff, how you doing today, Jeff?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good.
Excited to be here. Do another week.
I am bound with Infinite. Infinite, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Pretty excited to talk about this exciting last week we had.
Oh, that hype. Best word to describe us. And we do have a special treat for you folks from Northern Storm. We have the jungler, Jester. Jester, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really good. I guess I'd like to just echo that. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about everything that kind of went down in the last week.
There's a lot of things that are getting ready to go on. And I think talking about them, Nate, yell. Let's use our outside voices today. There's a lot to be excited about. So I want to start off with an important question. Jeff, if you had to describe what kind of animal Wraith Ghost was in describing his top lane play, what would you say?
Um, let's see. I don't know. I guess I'd say he's well, he played Ornn a lot, right? So some sort of scary goat.
He described himself as a turtle. Infinite, how would you describe J-Dog in the top lane? What animal?
Uh, J-Dog. I feel like I would describe him as kind of a shark. He's someone that if he gets kind of ahead or something, he's terrifying. But if he has anything go against him or gets clapped by some dolphins, it's no game.
Oh, okay. Very well thought out, but Dog just said wolf. A wolf is his top lane play. And then probably the most intriguing one, Jester. If you had to guess, the top laner Sexy Bidet, what animal do you think best describes his top lane play?
Oh my goodness. Oh, what a question. I honestly don't know if I'd be able to peg him as a specific animal. It'd be something that I guess you wouldn't expect to be what it is.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't have guessed moose, and that's what he said.
He said what?
Moose.
A moose.
A moose. So those were the three of the responses that we got. We'll try and start the show with a few of these, but I just think it's wildly crazy these animals were taken. Moose, Bidet, you got me there, buddy. But this week, I think we're going to be talking a lot about the top lane. I know we brought a jungler onto the show, but I think the top lane was probably some of the most exciting matchups in my eyes. And I'm excited to hop in and to talk about these matchups. So, week one, we had non-lives versus Blitzkrieg. I thought it was an incredible match. It was a workshop on when is too much tank and when is not enough tank. Both teams had standout moments, but dear gosh. Game two, Brandana's Yasuo, Wally on the Kaisa, and then those punishing Alistair engages from Alexis. What a treat. J-Dog, his Darius game is quite possibly some of the best I've ever seen J-Dog play. Just incredibly well done. Even when he was super ambitious with his summoner spells, it still didn't feel wasteful. Just such a wonderful game, and I'm very glad that it went 1-1. Infinite, what were your thoughts?
I kind of agree with a lot of what you said. I think that this first week was incredible because I feel like a lot of us thought that we were gonna be kind of perfectly right on calling things, and man, were we all so wrong. J-Dog's a great example of someone that we thought a lot of the community felt was just not going to perform well, and dude, he showed up. Him, Alexis on Alistair, it was pretty crazy all around. So,
Anything you want to highlight, Jeff?
I mean, I think it kind of like beating a dead horse at this point. We all know it, but Nine Lives just way too much tank, way too much pressure on General Wally. Not really on a hyper carry champion in Ezreal either in that game too. And you already shouted out Brandana for his Yasuo game. Brandana was very, very good in game one as well on that Cassiopeia. It was basically Brandana against Wally in a lot of those fights. So the series, I mean, Nine Lives playstyle looked kind of like what I expected with it being bot lane centric. I think Rolex has played very well in his first official match as support. But I think that they maybe have to work on their draft a little bit because I think game two they kind of lost in pick and ban.
I agree. I really question their pick and ban in game two where they went so tank heavy. Like they had tons of CC mechanics and they had a lot of damage. But I even remember flagging in chat when Non Lives had the early game advantage with that Ezreal. As soon as damage came on and items started showing up on the board for Blitzkrieg, it wasn't even a competition at that point. So my question for our guest about this game one, what would you have done if you would have been in the shoes that Nine Lives was in, playing into that hyper aggressive, damage heavy comp? If you would have had the opportunity to maybe change change your jungle pick there, what do you think, Jester?
If I was playing into Nine Lives,
Yes. That or just what jungle champion for you out of your pool do we need to watch for when we're playing into heavy tank comps?
honestly, I think a lot of people will say this about themselves to some extent, but I really like to pride myself on being very flexible depending on what the team needs. I think a big issue between the two games was, first of all, having a four tank with just having an Ezreal is kind of a weird comp, and I think there was a lot of constant constant roaming from jungle or camping, more or less sitting bot side when watching the game back later. I think there needs to be a lot more dedication to other lanes if they really want to snowball it. We already see that Rolexus can roam to other lanes, so I don't think there needs to be as much jungle focus bot, whereas if he can do a little bit more maybe to help Wraith Ghost topside. And then I think Brandana is going to be kind of a backbone to their team, so if J-Dog stays on something consistent, then Brandana can play a scaling champion mid and kind of just hyper carry and maybe not in such crude terms, but put the team on his back and kind of they can push as a 5v5 fight.
No, solid logic. I would put you on pick ban coaching there. So, any final thoughts on this game one matchup? Wildly fun to watch, very entertaining. More blood next week, please.
My only additional thoughts is like General Wally is an incredibly good player and he knows it. And I think that's why they tried this whole like 4 tank protect the ADC comp. But when you only have one damage source, like, do I think they could run that back and get some wins in this split? Yeah, sure. Do I think that they're going to win with a strategy like that? No. You provide one target that the team needs to lock down and take out of a fight, and then it's over. And that's kind of what we saw. So.
And just to piggyback off of that, it's possible to run a protect the AD carry comp, but I don't think Ezreal's the one to do it with. Ezreal's not really a traditional hyper carry like, say, somebody like a Jinx or a Vayne.
Yeah, my thoughts when I looked at this pick and ban was if they would have picked a more aggressive mid, someone that could have gotten a solid flank, then protecting a Kog'Maw, they potentially could have took the Nexus very quick, as it wouldn't have been much of a fight after 25 minutes. So that's just my thoughts. I'm glad we're all on the same page here. I hope that our fans and friends at Blitz at Non Lives are taking our expert advice. So, right after that, we went into an action-packed game 2 with Option 12 playing into Phoenix. Phoenix, man. We here at the podcast, I ranked Phoenix at number 4. You guys had them at 6, and I don't think that's how they performed at all. They played incredibly well. Game 1, it was interesting when we saw the set Cinnabot, and then a loss on a more traditional lane coming out of this option 12 squad. The Seth Senna coming out of option 12 is very inventive, but it makes me raise questions that can Prowler play a regular meta AD? It game 2 wasn't an indication of that. Gregosaurus Rex on Annie was fantastic, but I don't think we can talk about this game and not talk about the huge question marks we had when Sigta Eternal blind picked first pick Nasus, and then just walked right over Greatbeard Odin and everybody on that option 12 squad. Sorry, Shaken Not Stirred, not Greatbeard Odin. How can you not just be in awe? Like that was a champion performance there. Homie wore his title belt to that fight.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and
Go ahead.
jump in here. We talked about animals and like comparing them to top laners. Sigtal Eternal is a honey badger. He doesn't give insert the word. He does not care what you think he can play as and his elo and where you think his rating is. Like, this man shows up and he overperforms time after time. And this Nasus game was insane. He may not have won the laning phase against Shaken, but as soon as he got some stacks, like, he carried that game and he carried it hard. Another thing to point out is this was supposed to be the team that like everyone had in like first. Like, this is supposed to be the go-to winning team, and Phoenix beat them already in week 1. Like, that's incredible to me. So
Yeah.
I do just.
Go ahead.
I
Jeff.
want to correct some slander. I did not have Phoenix 6th. I had them 4th. And I did not have option 12 first.
There's always an outlier.
Yeah, well, I mean, the team that I had won was the only one that went 0-2, so I can't really talk.
I confused you with community, Jeff. That's my bad. You idiots listening to this podcast had Phoenix in 4th. Ah!
So I think it is something that I've been given permission to say, which is that the Vladimir pick in game 2 of that series was actually a misclick. That was not supposed to be picked. And I think that we talked a little bit about that on the cast, that that's not really a type of champion that we expect Gregosaurus Rex to play. So I think that certainly contributed something to that game 2. Going back to game 1, I really liked what I saw from option 12 in that they threw kind of a strange comp at you. We talked about Annie mid. I mean, it's a comfort pick for Gregosaurus. He's played that. He mained Annie back when Mitt Romney was a presidential candidate. So he's very well versed in that champion. And game 2, I mean, it was a very nice performance from Phoenix. I think that, Sigtau Eternal's Nasus game was impressive. And I was very pleasantly surprised in both games with Alpha's play out of the AD carry spot, because I know that that's a new role for him this split, but he performed very well in the Seraphine in game 2. And even though it was in a losing effort, his Jhin was actually very, very solid in game 1 as well. So I think that both he and Pointy Ball performed pretty well. And I think in game 2, it looked like they started to figure some things out with Sigtau Eternal as well.
No, I agree. I personally will only be describing meta through Republican candidate timeframes now. So I'm excited to see what the next Mitt Romney meta looks like when he potentially runs in 2024. My question for our esteemed guest, Jester, can you give us any spicy insight? Are there any off-meta picks that we could maybe expect out of you? Is there a Ezreal jungle perhaps, or anything that you keep in your pocket for scenarios where you might have a set AD?
If we had a set AD, I mean, I probably don't have anything particularly spicy myself, and I don't think it's any secret that Token loves playing goofy stuff bot, and when you have a pretty open and willing support that's really comfortable with playing a lot of different things with him, it allows him that ability to do a lot of goofy stuff. But at the end of the day, that might be kind of what's getting a lot of people in the league messed up and maybe that could have been what happened in the game where Prowler picked set as well. Prowler has been practicing a lot of ADC and solo queue, and I just was looking at his op.gg, and you see that he does a lot of good games on Ashe, a lot of decent games on Kai'Sa. I think reeling it back and kind of getting back to where the basics is, and playing stuff like Ashe, playing stuff like Misfortune, playing your standard like pick CC kind of style is kind of what is really going to get you wins in GCF. And I think it's just about reeling it back and getting your standard kind of CC and maybe not doing so much crazy stuff.
Uh, I mean, I vote for you. That was incredibly well put. Very good. Brio is saying Zyra jungle for Jester. Are you going to confirm or deny this?
Oh my god. I've memed about this amongst our group, and I've played some Zyra jungle, and all I'm saying is I've played like 3 games of Zyra jungle in ranked season 10, won all 3 of them. Whether it was me that got the W specifically for our team, I can't go back to that kind of recollection. Don't remember.
Well, I'm gonna be watching for it from here on out.
But I mean, stuff like Zyra and Morgana jungle, that kind of stuff is still viable. Is it worth picking? I might have to consult Token about some Morgana Moonstaff jungle.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm excited to potentially see that. But what I was excited to see this past week was some Udyr play in your game versus White Wolf. So if to recap some highlights, I don't think many people saw this outcome at all. The players on Northern Storm clearly have grown, between splits. Peach, if you're out there, buddy, you could quite possibly be the most popular league player that we've ever had. Your chat in those games was just, if I saw Peach's face again, I don't know what I would have done. It was just, oh, so hype for Peach, guys. Please keep that energy up and throw some love to other players. Everybody loves your energy. Thank you so much for coming to our stream, and we love to have you. So what were your thoughts of the set? It was definitely unexpected outcomes. We definitely thought we'd see a different performance out of White Wolf. And Infinite, you were one of the people that had ranked White Wolf as second best team in the league. Jeff had them at first. Infinite, what do you think happened? What do you think is happening?
So, man, I've been looking forward to this since Sunday. You called out some things about this team and some concerns you had, and I was giving them a benefit of the doubt. And one of my favorite things to do on this is to call people out. I love doing it. Prove me wrong. Just please prove me wrong. But White Wolf, you got to learn some new tricks. This tank only mentality, this slow a game to a crawl kind of play style that you're trying. Yeah, y'all are dropping quick in my book if you keep that up. That's not the meta right now, and I don't think you're going to make it work against these teams that are performing very well in this current meta, this current play style with all this burst damage, all these bruisers, all these mages and stuff. So it was kind of bittersweet because you're right, I did have them placed very high, but so obviously I wanted to see them perform very well. But at the same time, watching Northern Storm just come out so strong, it was just all around very impressive performances from the Northern Storm side. So,
Jeff, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I got to give a shout out to our very own Jester here and Sexy Bidet. I think that top side just owned this series. Good performances around the rest of the team as well, but I believe Sexy Bidet went something like 35-3 or something over the course of both games. So just kind of crazy in that regard. Played Ornn both times, so we'll see if he can be as successful on other champions. But there's no reason to believe he won't be. I just think that it looked like Northern Storm was the more proactive squad. Even in Game 2, when things were pretty close, I believe White Wolf was even ahead in the mid game. It just looked like Northern Storm were the ones who were willing to pull the trigger and go for plays, contest things, just be more dynamic. Whereas White Wolf, it looked like they wanted to just sort of slowly rotate around the map and do things, and I guess what Infinite was saying, do things in maybe a way that is not the current meta.
It definitely was some outcomes we didn't expect, and I agree with pulling the trigger. If we look at the comps that they built, the Olaf engage, I think that they just didn't get to a point where it could be as high impact as Olaf's expected to be, where you just walk to that back line, and you just shred an AD. I don't think they were able to scale to that point. I don't hate their pick ban. I really like it, except for J4, but that's more of a personal bias against him. He's the false heir to the Demacian throne, and he's actually a female assassin mage. So until we're able to justify and ratify the issues with the Demacian line of royalty, there's really no place for him in any meta. Yeah, let's never do that again. But enough about Demacian lineage. Jester, you played the Run Stun Bear Man, and I want to hear all about Run Stun Bear Man.
Honestly, as much as I'd like to take credit for, like, because in that game I went deathless, I went 6-0-10, but everything in the game one specifically was kind of set up through Bidet being able to just kind of, even though it was a tank v tank matchup, everything was kind of set up through Bidet being able to hold his own versus the Ornn. I got an early gank off on the Ornn and then repeat ganked him, just due to how the kind of the lane was held out. And that after that, I didn't really look much atop, and Bidet was able to just kind of do his own thing for the rest of the game. And then, if you look at the team comp, aside from Xerath, you're running into, as Olaf, Scion, Vayne, and Swain, you have to run into an Udyr, and then you have 3 super long-range champions with Lux, Misfortune, and Zyra that can kind of just hail down damage. I think, honestly, it was just not a good comp call overall. I think in the future, maybe Odin needs to be playing more aggressive things. I think Mixlink will be fine on stuff like Olaf or other tanks in the future. But I think in this one, it was just kind of a comp pick difference between game 1 and 2, where we were just kind of able to pick what we really wanted, and they seemed almost a little uncomfortable.
No, I think the outcomes point to that there's some truth in what you're saying. So I do agree that maybe Pickman 2 was different than 1, and I think there was a comfort level difference. So I can see where you're coming at.
And I'm going to defend Mixlink here because I see a lot of people trash in J4. And while I've played some J4 this season and it doesn't feel the greatest, I think the biggest issue, and we were really feeling, honestly, especially as the game started to go on, we were starting to feel kind of the CC pressure of J4. I think the biggest issue is the Chem Tank pickup on J4, which I didn't really see anyone talk about. If he would have went Gore Drinker into Sterix, we were starting to feel the pressure from that. And then since Mixlink knew that they were maybe doing a little bit further behind, they did pick up the Gargoyle Stoneplate just to survive that much longer when they do the EQ Cataclysm combo. And again, I think they honestly had maybe, while I didn't necessarily feel like we were going to lose game 2 at any point, I think they had a chance to make it a lot closer. We didn't really know how to respond to the Aurelia split pushing at the time, and I think they could have seized that opportunity to potentially look for objectives. And the game just kind of dragged out. We got a lucky pick, and then we were just ready for the Baron that spawned, and they just seemed kind of like they didn't know what they wanted to do.
I hope I can remember anything in my life as accurate as you can recall game 2 of your first week of the LCUS.
I mean, to be entirely honest, I've reviewed the game like 3 times. We were pretty harsh on ourselves with the criticism when we rewatched game 2. Each of us have rewatched it separately. Me and Slack watched it together. And there's a lot that even though we won both games, we've taken a lot away from things that we can adjust and fix to make a lot cleaner from when we play our next game.
Whew, just the way you just talk, if I was a player listening to this podcast right now, I'd be like, homie, watch some WandaVision. You scaring the crap out of me. We're reviewing the game 3 times. Y'all best be on your best behavior next week.
I mean,
Day and the storm coming for you.
Token's been he prepared a big quiz, and we have a test that we're supposed to be taking because he gave us all the answers, and so we have a test that we need to be taking to prepare us for our next game.
Oh, well, the biggest test is your next game. But even bigger than that is some of the questions I have for you now. Jester, you're new to the LCUS, and we're super glad you signed up. Every time that we have a split for all our listener friends out there, you can sign up. You can sign up through our Facebook page. You can join our Discord. Probably one of the least underutilized tool, and the best way to see stats from the last week's games is through our Reddit. Reddit.com/r/LCUS. Make sure you go join the subreddit. We would love to hear your feedback after the games. It's a great place for the conversation to continue. So my first question for you, Jester, favorite champion.
Favorite champion is probably the champion that I have the most mastery points currently on, which would be Graves. I feel like he's just a really easy jungler to play, and his kit's pretty fun. Plus, his aesthetic's really cool.
Flash on D or F?
Flash is always on F.
Ooh. Lock camera or unlocked?
For the most part, I play unlocked, but it kind of depends on the situation as well.
You're in a 1v1. Do you go skin or no skin?
Skin always.
Okay. What's your favorite skin line?
I'm probably if I pick a single champion's favorite skin, it'd be I got the Hextech Annie skin not too long ago. Otherwise, if it's Graves, I like the Mafia Graves. But Pool Party's a pretty cool skin line.
Okay. Good answers, and I love to learn about our new players. Please, guys, make sure you keep cheering for Jester and all the other new players every weekend when you see them. And don't hesitate to throw a veteran some love as well. Do any of my compatriots have questions for Jester?
Not everyone at once, guys.
That's all right. I'm too good an interviewer. I've probably left them speechless.
I just have them stunned with my answers.
I'm sorry. I was just too busy watching everyone in chat losing their marbles over Jester. You're starting to get the second biggest fan club, I think. So, congrats.
Well,
I mean, to be fair, a lot of those people are part of the John Tourage, part of Peach's fan club, and I get that second rooting.
Well, I love it, man. I love it. Well, before we go talking about next week, folks, two things. One, we want to remind you, if you get free shipping from Amazon, you get Twitch Prime. If you got Twitch Prime, we would love your Twitch Prime subscription. Guys, we really, we've passed up on some sponsorships this split so we can highlight some other things, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But we got to keep the lights on. We got to feed Jeff. You heard you heard the dude. He's not making the best decisions, and I'm pretty sure it's malnutrition. So please give us those Twitch Prime subscriptions. We got a hungry caster to feed. So with what I had said about bypassing sponsorships, we've decided to take this time to highlight the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration National Helpline for Mental Health Services. Behavioral issues affect millions of adolescents and adults in the United States. Approximately 1 out of every 5 adults have some form of mental illness. In 2014, of the 44 million Americans who are living with the disorder, less than half received any treatment or services. In lieu of a sponsor, the LCUS has chosen to take this time to highlight the National Mental Health Helpline. Save it, share it, use it. This resource is available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and can help callers find many different types of mental health support in their local area. Furthermore, the National Mental Health Hotline is free and confidential. If you or someone you know is struggling and in need of help, call 1-800-662-4357. If you're looking on the screen, that's 1-800-662-HELP. All right, guys. We've explained and analyzed exactly what happened last week, and probably one of the most humbling weeks in my time making predictions. And to cover that as well, it looks like blessed be its name, the coin got week 1 for 9 Lives versus Blitzkrieg correct. It did not guess correctly, as it said 0-2 for option 12 last week, and it did say that Northern Storm versus White Wolf Gaming would be a 1-1, and that was not the case. Northern Storm taking the 2-0. So let's talk about this upcoming week. We have game one. Game one, of course, happens at 5:30 CST on our Twitch channel, twitch.com/GMA Gaming. And it is White Wolf versus Option 12. Now, my personal match of the week is I'm always excited to see hyper mage players, people that are really good at playing mages, playing into each other. And this week we get Ace versus Gregosaurus. Is just going to be fantastic, and probably one of the most veteran versus veteran top lane matches is Greatbeard of Odin playing into Shaken Not Stirred. It's a very close skill matchup in my mind, and there's not as nowhere near as many as storied players as these two. SNS Shaken Not Stirred on Rumble last week was a treat. I loved it. Thank you so much for busting that out. We don't see that near enough, and I hope we get to see more picks like that, and maybe even unbench the Kench, please and thank you. Jeff, what are our thoughts? White Wolf into option 12.
Do you want prediction right now or just thoughts at this point?
Let's throw in the prediction. I most certainly, I think I'm gonna go with the 1-1. I think White Wolf's gonna step it up, and option 12 are gonna be able to at least get the game one by them.
Okay. I am gonna lean 2-0 option 12. I believe that they probably could have 2-0'd last week if not for the Vladimir mispick. Game 2 was relatively close anyways, even with it. And I think that White Wolf it's going to take a little while for them to figure their stuff out. I do think that you touched on the top lane matchup a little bit, Odin against Shaken. That's going to be exciting too. We don't have a lot of platinums in the league, but that's two of them going head to head. I think that White Wolf, they could find more success if they sort of unleash Odin a little bit. He likes to play a lot of weird stuff, and I think that now is the time to experiment and maybe let him try some of that weird stuff, see what happens. But it's just the gap between the teams looked measurable in week 1, so I'm gonna go 2-0 option 12.
Good stuff. Infinite, what is your prediction?
So I'm torn. My prediction is going to be 2-0 in favor of option 12, but only because I've already noticed that I'm successfully doing my job. I've got some people in chat that are not exactly happy with my callouts from White Wolf, and that's what I want. Light some fire into you guys. Greatbeard, dude, your Aurelia play was such a treat to watch. Like that, I loved that so much. I know you probably picked the Scion yourself, but I like these harder carry top laners. I want you to stick with that, especially against someone like Shaken, where it really is just going to be such a treat to watch you guys battle it out. If they actually show up and perform, I think it'd be a 1-1. But for the sake of trying to make some enemies, I'm going to say 2-0 for option 12.
And something I don't think we memed on it, but Akali got through. And when it made it through, I peed a little. I was that excited to potentially see the Akali. So I hope Odin does play it. Jester, our reverend guest. Who's going to take this?
As someone that really likes watching the jungle matchups specifically, I really think there's a bit of a difference in skill currently. Now, maybe this might change up in other lanes, but specifically with the jungle role, I think Burn the Heretic's a really solid jungler, and he's going to be really aggressive and create some issues for Mixlink, and is going to kind of cause some chaos as to wondering, where our jungler is, maybe some jungle missing pings. But I think at the end of the day, I might also have to go option 12 2-0. I think unless Ravane shows us something crazy different, while our game 2 is closer and the Vayne was starting to scale up a little bit more, I think you just need something that's a lot more reliable of a pick. You need a Kai'Sa, you need a Jhin, you need some of these other 80 carries, Misfortune, Ashe, that can offer a little bit more to the team. And I think if you get something a little bit more aggressive or does more damage, it allows Wishbone to also kind of really be your front line frontline tank and really be a lot more aggressive, which we've seen her do before.
Hard to agree. Uh, Also, shout out Robbie Tate. Thank you for gifting a sub to our community. Greatly appreciated. I agree with the picks on Ravane, but Ravane did a very solid job on Ravane. That's not going to be the first time this name catches me this split. He did an incredible job on Vane, I believe. So I'd like to continue to see that more. That was real exciting. So that takes us to game two. We'll do the coin last, and I'll do a review of the coin. Jeff, do you want to pay homage to the coin while we set up? Can you do the coin flip for us?
Yep, I got you. Got one right
Thank
here.
So game two is Blitzkrieg versus Northern Storm. I think this could be potentially the closest match of the night. If J Dog shows up and shows that he can perform well and potentially build a gap, it might be in their benefit, in his benefit. But Sexy Bidet, your performance last week left me in awe. So I don't know exactly what to see there. I expect a fight in top at all times. So Bidet, I saw you in chat. J-Dog, I know you're listening. Please, give me this constant bloodbath. I'm going to give it 1-1. I would say 2-0 Northern Storm, but Blitzkrieg showed that they're a team to be respected, and I'm not going to disrespect them with that 2-0 garbage. Jeff?
I mean, this is a tricky one because Northern Storm, obviously, they're the only 2-0 team in the league. They looked very good last week, but we've spent a lot of time talking about how White Wolf didn't really play very well last week. So when you talk about White Wolf potentially not playing very well, does that potentially make Northern Storm's win look less impressive? It's kind of an unfair assumption. It is an assumption. That's exactly what it is. But with that being said, it's so early in the season that we can't really label one team as definitively better than another based off 1 week's worth of matchups. I think the key here is going to be I think that the bot lanes are going to be relatively even. I think that the top sides are going to be relatively even. I do think maybe a slight advantage to Northern Storm, but I'm interested in seeing the mid lane matchup. I think Slack did a very good job last week in holding up against Ace. Brandana's a different kind of player. Brandana will play much more aggressive, much more in your face than Ace will generally. So I'm wondering how Slack holds up against that pressure, given that this is only going to be his second series in the mid lane. And I think that will decide this matchup. I do think that we're going to have a 1-1 here.
Jester, are you going to make this a 2-0? Are we going to see more spicy Udyr play? Well, what can you expect if this were your opportunity to lay it out on the line? What do you say to your teammates and to your opponents for this upcoming match?
Of course, I'm going to have to go ahead and say the 2-0 for us. I mean, it's not even just me being cocky or arrogant. It's my team, first of all, so of course I'm going to root for us. But second of all, I think a lot of people are overlooking the fact that even if that game one maybe wasn't the best played by or White Wolves, and maybe it wasn't their best champions that they could have been on, a lot of that had to do with how smart we were with picks and bans. We didn't just kind of willy-nilly our picks and bans. We put a lot of thought into it. And once we come out of those picks and bans, whatever champions you're left with, I think as a team, we are really smart with knowing how to cushion any sort of pressure that we're getting put against us or any sort of deficit that we're getting put against us, like what happened in game 2 last week. And if we are ahead, we're going to put our foot on the gas and we're going to start really pushing and making really aggressive plays like we did in game 1. I think it will be. I think you're right when you say the mid lane matchup is going to be a big matchup. Ace and Brandana are two completely different players with how their play style is, and I am kind of excited for Blitzkrieg because it's a completely different play style than how White Wolves will be when you have players like J Dog and Brandana. And then if Pistol Crab is able to kind of get them going at all, then we could struggle to slow them down. But like I said, I think we can cushion any sort of lead that they might build.
You heard it here, folks. There's going to be a draft diff coming out of this northern storm. High pressure front coming out your boy Jester, putting the pressure on this blitzkrieg trying to walk up and grab the lightning. I'm hype. I'm ready. It's going to be some good stuff. So
Nope. I'm gonna go ahead and do my piece before you skip me because I know it was about to happen.
I tried.
Yeah, you did. I actually have a lot to say about this one. This is the matchup I'm most interested in for this week, just because I agree with you that I think this is a very even matchup, um, especially the jungles. I think these are some of the more impressive and fun to watch junglers for both teams. So it's exciting to see how they're going to impact their respective teams. I think top lane, it's also pretty interesting. I think Sexy is probably going to play safer, whereas J-Dog, like I said earlier, kind of that feast or famine thing, a little more aggressive, which could end up being a really good thing for them or a really bad thing if he falls behind. Then you've got Slack and Brandana, and if you had asked me before week 1 how I thought that matchup would go, I would have said Brandana hands down. And now I am not so sure. Slackosaurus shows up. He is much more of a monster than I think we realize. So I'm excited for that too. But really, I think the difference for these teams is going to be in the bot lane. Token and Peach are terrifying together. They seem to just have synergy already completely figured out. They got their one mistake out with that Zyra flash dive under tower, and then they didn't make more mistakes after that, it seemed. So I think that's going to be kind of the point in the point for their team that pushes them over the edge.
Very well put, and I am hyped to see this bot lane. And I know all of our viewer friends out there are ready for the John Taraj to continue their bot lane kingdom. So you love to see it. Well, folks, that match is our second match, and that is expected to start at 7.
Did you have a prediction, Infinite?
Oh, I'm gonna go 1-1. Just I think it'll be close, and I don't want to count Northern Storm or Blitzkrieg out. I think they both have very good chances. So I'm gonna go 1-1.
It's a good question. I probably should have followed up with that. Be careful. You were brought on here as a guest, not as a replacement, Jester. Know your role. Well, folks, that is game 2 this week. That happens at 7:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. Our games last week went a little long, so please be advised games begin immediately after the completion of the last set. So this game could be a little early or a little later. Regardless, we're tickled pink to have you with us, and we are so happy for great fans like Smokey Bear. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime subscription, Smokey. We really appreciate it. I want to round out with week 3. We've crunched ourselves on time, so we're gonna give this the appropriate attention. But let's try and do it with a few less words. Non-Lives versus Phoenix. I think this will be more focus on tanks. I hope not, but I think that you'd said it correctly earlier, Jester, when you said that Non-Lives have decided that they're going to play through Wally, and with an enabling support like Relexus, I think that'll continue. Alpha definitely showed the ability to take that AP in the bot lane, and I want to see more of that. He's a wonderful mage player, so why ruin a good thing? More bold picks out of Eternal, please. That's all I'm really watching for now. You're the reason that I watch the LCUS. Please, more of that. I'm gonna give it the 2-0 to Non-Lives, but I've been wrong already. Let's see it again. Infinite, I skipped you last time. I'll respect you this time.
All right, you said less words. Let's see. 9 lives. Here's your if you wanna win through General Wally, which I do think is very possible for your team. Here's how you do it. Put Relexus on your other damage. Make him a damage support. Then you pick 3 tanks for the other roles. I think that honestly probably would be good enough to win, assuming that both Relexus and Wally show up and the other 3 can keep you guys alive. Otherwise, maybe don't do the whole only tanks option. Phoenix, yeah, Eternal pull out some craziness and just play the way you guys did, and you're going to be so much higher than any of us expected.
Jeff, enlighten us.
Oh man, I agree that on paper, what Infinite just suggested makes sense. Might be the smartest thing, but I'm looking at this matchup as an opportunity for someone else on Nine Lives to step up. You never want to be a one-trick pony in League of Legends, even if we've talked about General Wally, incredible player, but you have to have some variety in your play style. So I'd love to see somebody else on Nine Lives step up. They don't need to hard carry, but they need to be a legitimate second threat, and they had that in game one of last week. So I want to see that again. Maybe up in the top lane. I think it would be tricky because Ponyball is such a rock in the mid lane. I'm not sure if you want to try to carry out a mid lane against Phoenix, but I would like to see some variety out of Nine Lives. I will predict a 2-0 for them though.
All right, Jester, round us out.
I think there's kind of a lot of repeating the same thing, and unfortunately, that's kind of how it's going to be. But I do want to give Phoenix the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say it's a 1-1. And what I am kind of hoping for is that if they do take a game, it's going to be the first game. And I want them to really just kind of come out swinging right off the bat, kind of really throw Wally and Rolexis off guard, whether it be something aggressive, normal, or unorthodox. I want to really see them kind of leave an impression on that bot lane and let them know that just because they have Wally, one of the more respected and better bot laners, and then now that Rolexis is down there with them and they have good synergy, I want them to really kind of throw them off guard. And then maybe kind of through Pointy in the jungle, get some really kind of good synergy going there and be able to do a lot of roaming and kind of just really affect the map otherwise.
No, very, very smart call there. Jeff, bless us with his hollowed predictions from the coin, folks. The coin is a coin flip to see exactly who will win. So set one, what's the coin say?
The coin said 2-0 option 12.
2-0 option 12. Set two, Blitzkrieg versus Northern Storm.
It said 2-0 Northern Storm.
And set three, Nine Lives versus Phoenix.
1-1.
1-1. Blessed be the coin, hollowed in its halls, wonderful and jingly in our pockets. May your predictions reign ever true. Well, folks, we are so excited that you chose to join us to talk tonight about the league. Thank you to my esteemed colleagues with their gifted voice and their even more gifted casting. Please join them, Kenos and Arcane Soda, as they cast these week's games starting at 5:30 Central Standard Time for Game 1. Games go in order, so please make sure you stay with us the whole time. Thank you to all the members of the LCUS community that make this possible, which include our administrators, it includes our moderators on our various social media presences. Thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed our show, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.